Ever feel like you're stuck? Like you're capable of way more, but just can't seem to get it together?
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way.
It's so common, right? Today we're going to dig into 9 steps that can seriously change your life. And we're going to start with something that might surprise you, your health.
It might seem a little out there, but think about it this way. Your health is the base for everything else. It's like, trying to build a house on sand. You need a solid foundation.
Okay, I see where you're going with that. So it's not just about, looking good.
No.
It's about having the energy and focus to reach your goals.
Exactly. When you prioritize your health, good food, exercise, sleep, you're setting yourself up to deal with challenges and really go after what you're passionate about.
So step 1 is upgrading our health, not just for vanity, but for, success in everything.
Got it.
So what's next?
Step 2 might sound a little funny at first, but stick with me. It's about being selfish.
Selfish. Huh. Okay, tell me more.
It's not about being greedy. It's more like being selfish so you can be generous.
I'm intrigued. How does that work?
It's like trying to, pour from an empty pitcher. You can't give what you don't have, right?
Right.
Same goes for energy, time, and all that. If you're always running on empty, you won't have anything left to give anyone, including yourself.
So fill your cup first so you can share with others.
That's it. Self-care is key.
Love that. Okay, so we're taking care of our health, being strategically selfish. What's step number 3?
Step 3 is all about shifting your perspective. It's about starting at the end.
Starting at the end, what do you mean?
Imagine you're going on a trip. You wouldn't just start driving without a destination, would you?
Well, sometimes a spontaneous road trip can be fun, but yeah, I get your point.
Right. In this case, starting at the end means picturing your ideal future. What do you really want your life to look like?
So instead of just saying, I want to be happy, we need to figure out what happy actually means for us.
Exactly. Once you have that vision, write it down, visualize it, and let it guide you every day.
Got it. So we've upgraded our health, we're being strategically selfish, and we've defined our big vision. It's all starting to come together. What's next?
Step 4 is about tackling something that trips a lot of people up. It's about designing your environment for success.
Ooh, that's interesting.
We often think willpower is everything, but our surroundings have a huge impact on us.
I totally get that. It's like trying to resist a whole bowl of candy when it's sitting right there on the table.
Exactly. Our environment can either help us or hurt us when it comes to reaching our goals.
So this step is about making sure our space is working for us, not against us.
Right. Making it easier to make good choices and harder to make bad ones.
So practical. I love it. It's not just about being disciplined. It's about setting yourself up for success from the get-go. What's next?
Step 5 takes a kind of data-driven approach. Become an obsessive tracker.
Ooh, this sounds interesting. Does this mean we need to track every single thing we do?
Not necessarily. It's more about that idea of what gets measured gets managed. When we track our progress, we can see what's working, what's not, and make changes.
So instead of just guessing, we're using actual information to make decisions.
Precisely. It can be as simple as a journal, an app, or even just notes on your phone.
Wait, I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together. Upgrading our health, being strategic with our time and energy, defining our vision, shaping our environment, and now tracking our progress. What's step number 6?
Step 6 takes us into the world of learning. But we're not talking about just any kind of learning. It's about becoming a deep learner.
Deep learning. Okay. So not just scrolling through social media.
No. Deep learning is about going way beyond just taking in information.
So what does that look like?
Well, there are 3 levels: consumption, application, and teaching.
Okay. Tell me more.
Level 1 is consumption, which is like reading books, listening to podcasts, the usual stuff. But it doesn't stop there.
So it's not enough to just passively absorb information.
Right. Level 2 is application. That's where we put what we've learned into practice in our own lives.
So if I read about a new exercise routine, I actually have to try it out.
That's the idea. And then we get to level 3, which is teaching. When you can teach something to someone else, you really get it.
That's a great point. It forces you to really think things through.
And teaching doesn't have to be formal. It could just be sharing something you've learned with a friend.
Okay, so we're not just passively learning. We're applying it, experimenting, and even teaching it to others. Makes sense.
And this leads right into step 7, which is all about becoming a massive action taker.
I'm noticing a theme here. It's not just about thinking. It's about actually doing.
You got it. We can plan and dream all day, but without action, nothing changes.
So how do we become massive action takers.
It's about developing what's called a bias toward action, basically overcoming that tendency to overthink and hesitate. When something resonates with you, take a step, any step, to move forward.
So it's better to do something, even if it's not perfect, than to do nothing at all.
That's the idea. Action creates momentum.
Action creates momentum.
I
Okay,
mean-
I like that. What's next?
Step 8 takes a more, I guess you could say, introspective turn. It's about the power of journaling.
Oh, journaling.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to be a consistent journaler, but I struggle to keep it up.
Yeah, it can be tough, but the benefits are so worth it. It gives you a safe space to reflect, process emotions, and see patterns in your thinking.
So it's more than just writing down what happened during the day.
It's like having a conversation with yourself. On paper, you can explore challenges, celebrate wins, and really track your growth.
Okay, that makes sense. But for someone who's new to journaling, where do they even start?
The key is to find what works for you and make it a habit. Some people like prompts, some like free writing. Just experiment.
So make it my own. I like that. And it's not just for self-discovery, right? I've heard it can be really good for stress,
Absolutely. Writing things down helps get them out of your head, you know?
like a release.
Exactly.
Okay, so journaling is more than just a hobby. It's a tool for self-care, growth, and stress management. What's the last step in this journey?
Step 9 is all about using focused effort over a period of time. It's the idea that 90 days is all it takes to make real change.
90 days.
Yeah.
That seems doable, but also a bit intimidating.
It's long enough to build momentum and see results, but short enough to stay motivated.
So like a sprint that sets you up for a marathon.
Exactly. Pick one area of your life, commit to it for 90 days, and watch what happens.
Okay, we've covered a lot. We've talked about upgrading our health, being strategic with our time, defining our vision, creating the right environment, tracking our progress, becoming deep learners, taking action, and even journaling. Wow. I'm feeling pretty inspired to put all this into practice.
That's great. It's all about taking those steps and turning them into action.
This has been super insightful. Thanks for sharing all this with us.
It's been my pleasure.
I'm sure everyone listening is feeling as motivated as I am to start making some positive changes.
And remember, even small changes done consistently can make a huge difference. So as we go a little deeper with these 9 steps, what's really sticking out to you? Anything feels super relevant or maybe even a little tough to think about in your own life?
You know, when we were talking about designing our environment for success, it was like a light bulb went off. I realized my workspace is like a total disaster.
Yeah.
Cluttered, distracting, the whole 9 yards.
It's crazy how much our environment can affect us, you know? Our mood, our focus, our productivity. We think we can just power through, but it really does make a difference.
Just like trying to, I don't know, write a novel in a busy coffee shop. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. So if you're serious about changing things, really take a look around. What can you change? What can you get rid of? What can you add that'll make a positive difference?
For sure. I'm going to declutter my workspace, make it more calming, maybe put up some visuals to remind me of my goals.
I love that. Make it a space that supports who you want to be, you know?
Totally. And something else that really hit home was that idea of starting at the end. I realized my vision for the future is pretty vague. Like, I want to be happy and successful, but I haven't really gotten specific about what that means.
That's really common. We get caught up in the day-to-day and forget to step back and really dream big.
I'm going to try that vivid vision thing you mentioned, where you write out your ideal day 5 years from now.
It's a game changer. Not about a rigid plan, but setting a direction, getting those emotions flowing, and letting that vision guide you.
Okay, so optimizing our environment, clarifying our vision. What are some other tips for actually making this all work?
One of the biggest traps people fall into is perfectionism, waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, and you know what happens.
You never get started.
Exactly. That's where being a massive action taker comes in. Action creates momentum, remember?
Like, even small steps add up.
So do something, anything, even if it's not perfect.
Don't let perfect be the enemy of good, as they say.
And as you start taking action, you learn, you make adjustments, you get better.
It's about the journey, not just the destination.
Exactly. And that's where tracking comes in. You can see what's working, what's not, and make those tweaks.
You know, when we first talked about obsessive tracking, I thought it sounded a bit intense. But now I see it's not about being a robot. It's about using information to make smarter choices.
That's it. Understanding yourself better. And it can be simple, like a journal, a spreadsheet, notes on your phone.
Find a system and stick with it. Got it.
And you'll probably discover some interesting things about yourself along the way.
Speaking of self-discovery, journaling is something I really believe in, but man, it's hard to make it a habit.
It's all about finding a style that works for you. Some people like prompts, some like to just free flow, find what feels right.
Make it my own.
And don't forget, it's not just for self-discovery, it's great for managing stress, too.
Right, getting those thoughts out of your head.
It's like a conversation with yourself, but on paper, safe space to process things.
Okay, I'm sold. Journaling is back on my list. Now, tell me more about this 90-day challenge. Why 90 days?
There's a reason a lot of programs use that time frame. It's long enough to see real change, to make those new habits stick, but it's not so long that it feels impossible.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Not too short, not too long, just right.
Plus, research shows it takes about 66 days to form a new habit, so 90 gives you a little buffer.
Okay, so choose one area, go all in for 90 days, track progress, celebrate those small wins, make adjustments as needed. Got it.
You got it. And consistency is key. Little by little, it all adds up.
Love that. Okay, I think we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about setting ourselves up for success by creating the right environment, getting clear on our vision, taking action, tracking our progress, being kind to ourselves, and celebrating every step forward.
It's all connected. It's a holistic approach to growth.
I feel like energized and ready to tackle this challenge. But before we move on, let's just do a quick recap of the 9 steps.
Great idea. So, upgrade your health. Be selfish to be generous. Start at the end. Design your environment. Track like crazy. Become a deep learner. Be a massive action taker. Write it all down. And embrace the power of 90 days.
Wow, that's quite the list. And it's not just about, like, external success. It's about feeling good, too.
Yeah.
Feeling aligned with who you are.
Absolutely. Creating a life that feels meaningful.
As we wrap up this part of our deep dive, is there anything else we should touch on before we jump into the challenge itself?
You know, one thing we haven't really talked about explicitly is mindset. Our thoughts and beliefs really shape our reality.
Sure. You can have all the right tools and strategies, but if you're stuck in a negative mindset, it's going to be tough.
Exactly. So as you start this 90-day journey, cultivate a growth mindset. Believe in your ability to learn and adapt.
So when we hit those roadblocks, we see them as opportunities, not failures.
Yes. We're all works in progress, right? It's about moving forward, learning, and embracing the whole journey.
Embrace the messiness. I like that.
And remember, you don't have to do this alone. Lean on your support system. Find a mentor. Connect with people on a similar path. We're all in this together.
Such a good reminder. Sometimes just knowing you're not alone makes a world of difference.
And as we head into part 3 and talk about the 90-day challenge specifically, keep that in mind. Find those positive influences, reach out for help when you need it, and celebrate every win, no matter how small.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's do this. This has been so inspiring. I'm feeling pumped to get started.
That's what I like to hear. Even small changes can lead to big results.
Okay, so we've got those first 8 steps down. Now, how do we use this 90-day challenge to actually put them into action?
This is where the rubber meets the road, right? It's like your launch pad to really get moving toward that vision you created.
90 days is a pretty good chunk of time, though. How do we even approach it?
Start small. Pick one area you want to focus on.
So not like trying to change my whole life at once.
Yeah, trying to do everything at once is just going to lead to burnout. Pick one thing. Maybe it's your health, your finances, relationships, or even something as simple as your morning routine.
Okay, one area. Then what? Just go for it.
Not quite. This is where all his other steps come in. Think of them as your tools.
Oh, right. We've already laid a lot of the groundwork. Our health, our vision, our environment.
Exactly. And don't forget about tracking. That's going to be key to see how you're doing and make adjustments.
So we're not just winging it. We're being strategic.
Right. Like a science experiment, you know? You've got your hypothesis, your plan, and you're gathering data to see what works.
I like that. It takes the pressure off, makes it more about learning as you go.
And remember, it's a journey, not a race. There will be bumps along the way.
That's where the growth mindset comes in, right? Seeing challenges as opportunities.
You got it. It's all about being flexible and trusting the process.
And what about, like, support? It's hard to do everything alone.
It's so important. Find your people you know. Your friends, a mentor, a group, whoever can help you stay on track and cheer you on.
Sometimes just knowing you're not alone makes all the difference.
Absolutely. As you dive into this 90-day challenge, remember that. Find your support system, celebrate every little win, and don't be afraid to ask for help.
This has been amazing. I'm feeling so motivated to actually make these changes happen. It's incredible how Just a few steps can really make a difference.
It's all about taking action. And those small changes over time can lead to huge results.
Thanks for sharing all this wisdom with us. I know
Oh,
everyone listening is going to get a ton out of it.
my pleasure. It's all about helping people create the lives they want.
Absolutely. And remember, if you're ready to start your own journey, hit that subscribe button to stay connected and join our awesome community. We're all in this together.
We'd love to have you.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep creating the life you want.